All right, let's do this. So, final right here, not too bad. I think I sent out an email talking about how I was just making sure it was perfect. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to write an exam, and I had to write 2 of them. Yours was the one that I put the most love into. And then I had a business calc one to write. And that was just like, can we just be done with this? I want to talk just a little bit about resonance. And did I hit recording there, Dave? Got a mass spring system. And in a particular one with no damping. I want to make mine a little different than the one I made for you. So I've got a mass spring system, and let me just ask you right up front, what do you think will happen here? So hopefully you can look at a mass spring system and kind of have a sense of what the physical system is doing. Anybody care, Luke? Yeah?
It's just gonna oscillate.
Is this? So look at the initial conditions as well.
It's just gonna sit there.
It's just gonna sit there. Yeah, exactly. So this one, no damping, right? So we would expect any oscillations that start to just continue on forever. We're not gonna lose energy whatsoever. But because of these initial conditions, no initial displacement, no initial velocity. Here's our solution. X is always 0 for all t. That's a solution a person could have for this system. Not super interesting. But what if I did the thing I've been hinting at in all sorts of goofy ways? What if I add an external force? In particular, sinusoidal force. In particular, a sinusoidal force that is at the same frequency as the solution. So notice here, the forcing frequency equals the system's natural frequency. Let's just make sure we see that really quickly. To solve this, I would get characteristic polynomial. You've probably seen this one enough to know that lambda is plus or minus I, so my solutions are going to be C1 cos t plus C2 sine of t. And so my frequency here is governed by that number in front of the t. In fact, the frequency, I think I've been saying this a little bit wrong, but my frequency is 1 over 2 pi. And my period is 2 pi. Frequency is just 1 over period. And this is generally in hertz. That just means cycles per second. So how many cycles have occurred within 1 second of time? One sixth of a cycle. How long does it take for a full cycle? Roughly 6 seconds to happen. So this is cycles per second. So I'm going to force it at its natural frequency, and what will happen? And to show you this, I want to do a little app work here. So God, I hope I have all the work I did. Oh, I'm cranking this out. I don't know why it's, no, that's geometry stuff. Just kidding, shit. Hold on. I can fake what I want, but I actually worked this all out. And then close the folder like a fool. And this isn't good. Come on, baby, let's go. Okay, one more, almost. Well, I know what it's supposed to look like, so I'm just gonna wing this together. I remember the solution. The solution to this equation here, let's actually talk about a slightly different solution, equation. Let's say I had this, and I had a sine of omega t. and x at 0 equals x dot at 0 equals 0. And this omega is a control, so omega is a parameter. What's going to happen as I vary that input? How will the system respond? Well, here's what the solution's going to look like. Let's see, is that coming on? It doesn't sound like it, does it? Let's try that. Yay, yay, yay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a parameter to this. And I already know what the solution to this will be. I've got it pre-canned, pre-worked out. It's going to look like this. It's going to be negative, and instead of omega, I'm going to choose w over, oh, it didn't ask for a parameter. Maybe I'll use a. Why is it not asking me? Why is it not responding like it should? Let's try one more time here. Let's say cosine of t. Okay, you're weird like that, huh? All right, so I do want negative. Hell, I guess I'll just use t as my parameter. That's a little disconcerting, but I think you'll still get the point. Over 1 minus t squared. And then that is times sine of t. And that is my homogeneous solution. So that's the part that actually solves this equation right here. And then the particular solution looks like this. It is just t over 1 minus t squared. And then here's the cool part. Sine sine of x, that's my variable, over, nope, sine of, 1 minus, nope, easy, one more time, times tx, that's what I have. Okay, cool. And I'm going to add a slider to control that parameter. I'm going to tweak this because what I'm actually really interested in is what happens as we get close to the natural frequency. And I just want to show you as we step up to it. Let's see, so let's do super small steps and let's make a max of 2 here. Okie dokie. So hit enter, and y in God's name is nothing plotted. Well, because that should be an x. And it still seems pretty roached, doesn't it? Desmos, why do you like this? Can you just do that? Can you plot, can you do anything, Desmos? Okay, all right. Well, let's feed Desmos slowly. So now I'll put t in there. Okay, I'm gonna like slowly copy this down here. Control C, and this will actually, this probably is gonna be, why is that not working? Oh, because t is 1. Well, duh, there we go. Let's put it down to 0. Okay, so watch what happens to the solution to this differential equation as that forcing frequency increases. So right now, I'm at half. And you see that we have this sinusoidal action, which I would expect. There is an external force all of a sudden. So let me put the one that's up there right now. The thing you're looking at right now is actually the solution to this equation. I've got the parameter set at a half. And I'm forcing it, even though there's no initial displacement, there's energy being put into the system. And this energy is sinusoidal. So it's forcing things, but not quite at the natural frequency, but I'm getting kind of a beautiful, interesting sine wave here. It's not a regular looking sine at all. As I increase this toward 1, just watch what happens. Now, one thing I want you to notice is there's a period to this solution. The period is starting here and then running all the way to here. So can you see that as one period? And then that's just repeated. Watch what happens to this period. This natural period is going to start moving out this way, and the amplitude is going to start increasing. See how that's sliding out there? And notice how there is this other waveform that's manifesting here, right? There's this inner wave, this smaller, higher frequency signal, but then there's this outer signal that is moving like this. And let's approach one fully. Notice how it's scooting out. Look at how big it's getting. Look at the amplitude. It's over 10 right now. Now it's approaching 20. Let's even back out a little bit more. So you can see the outer waveform very clearly. And look at where the end of the period is now. It's way out by 50. Go to 9.7, 9.8. Look at that shit. That is all the way out at 300 with an amplitude of 50. And there's 0.99. It jumped because it's becoming very sensitive to changes. Now we're out near 600. And the amplitude is at 100. And then if I take this to 1, it's going to barf because I'll have division by 0. But what we see is this natural increase. Watch the movie again. As that external frequency starts to get closer and closer to the natural frequency, I'm seeing this phenomenon occur called resonance. When you force something at its natural frequency, you get buildup of energy. And now I want you to hear this. How many folks have played guitar? Have you ever tuned it and heard the beat tones? Do people even still do this anymore? You like play a harmonic on one string and then on the other, and you tune them closer. You know what I'm talking about? And you can hear when things are in tune, and as they're getting in tune, you hear this whum, whum, whum. And then that whum whum sound gets longer and longer as you get closer in tune. So to hear this, let's look at a tone generator. And this is the one. So I'm going to get 2 instances of this guy. Boo, 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 boo. Let's see, can I pin? Can I pin over here? Maybe I better hit enter first. Sweet. Let's see if we actually have volume. That's the next. That's usually kind of a troubling thing at Regis, just getting sound on things. Let's see if we have a tone here. Oh, oh God, I got suckered in on the bait. Okay, here we go. Ooh, that's pretty loud, sorry. Okay, so that tone is at 440. Listen what happens when this competing tone over here, which is now exactly 440, moves away.
Doppler effect, right?
Do you hear the warbling? That is the outer envelope of these 2 signals interacting. So one of these can be thought of as the external force, and this could be thought of as the natural frequency. What did you say, Lou?
The Doppler effect?
I don't think it's Doppler. Doppler is when you're moving close, when the waves are getting compressed due to forward motion,
Right.
or pulled apart when you're moving away, so that the tone changes. Let's just get this guy right up, just within. See, there you can hear it. They're further apart. I'm gonna try to get it. So there. I want one. I just want one away.
There's an arrow.
Is there an arrow? Yeah. Oh, look at that. So hear how the beat tone is super long here. Let's move. Oh, you can really hear it there. It's really swelling. That is exactly what we were seeing in that picture over there. And it's a good way to tune a guitar. So when you've got the one string and then the other string and you're listening to the two together and you listen for these beat tones, and then when they stop, you are perfectly in tune. Okay, well that's probably going to somebody's seizures or something. I said I better stop that. Okay, great. So let me show you what happens. How do we solve this problem here? How do I solve this problem when the natural frequency is matched by the forcing frequency? You're going to have to do this. So let me kill this guy off. And this is all I really want to show you today. And we'll be good to go. So, how do you solve a non-homogeneous differential equation? Remember, there are multiple steps to this. Step one is solve the homogeneous problem. That's always step one. Solving this guy right here, I've already done it. So x sub h is c1 cos t plus c2 sine of t. Then I'm going to guess, I don't even do anything with the constants in front until I have the particular part. So step two is use the method of undetermined coefficients. And I'm going to actually still do another video, little tiny video, to help just give you a few more examples of this than I'm going to give you today. Method of undetermined coefficients to find the particular solution. The particular solution is the thing that spits out the right-hand side. Thinking of the left side as a differential operator that takes some function, finds its second derivative, and then adds it to itself. I want to give that something that will spit out sine of t perfectly on the right side. So, what I would have to do is take a guess. What happens if I use this guess? It seems like a pretty natural guess. If I were to guess that, what would happen? Can I get the right side? No, why not, Lou?
Because the second derivative, right, the like x double dot is going to be the like opposite of it, so it's just going to be 0 when you add them together.
Yeah, this is the homogeneous solution. If I try to get something to pass through here by using this, I'm going to fail because this is what the equation eats for breakfast. It just consumes this whole thing. And we can see it, it's right here. It's basically this. What do I have to do to make things heavier? Do you remember this? What do we do? I want to make it make a better sandwich for it.
Some t's in there.
Multiply by a t. So because this would be the natural guess here, but the natural guess is already the homogeneous solution, I'm just going to multiply by t. So when the right side, and you only have this on one problem on the final exam, your frequency is a little bit different, so you'll have to tweak this, but it's the exact same thing. So now I make a guess, and then I plug it in, plug in the guess, and try to figure out what A and B have to be to give me that right-hand side. So xp dot, let me give you some tips on how you might differentiate this efficiently. Pull the A out, do the product rule here. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. And then plus B times the derivative of that critter, that product in there. Got that? I'm not going to simplify, I'm just going to keep cranking. xp double dot is, leave the A out in front. Derivative of this, negative sine. Product rule, so minus derivative of t times sine of t minus t times the derivative of sine, which is cosine, so it'll just be minus t cos. And then plus b times this derivative, cos plus product rule again. And there is a minus in here, so I had to worry about it, but not so much there. So it's just Pretty straightforward calc. Let me stop for a second. How does this feel? Make sure you feel cool about what just happened. And I'm being I'm like 10% more spastic than normal just because I want to get you your final. Simplifications could happen here. In fact, hell, let's just simplify. So this is actually a times negative 2 sine minus t cos plus b times 2 cos minus t sine. And now I am going to plug those in. So let me slow down and see if people still writing. Is it making sense what I'm doing here? Here's a little hint. If this frequency here had been like, if this had been 25, then I'd probably want, and this was 5, the same game would be needed here. For this one, if I had lambda squared plus 25 equals 0 for my characteristic, I'd get lambda equals plus or minus 5i. That tells me that this is just a repeat of the homogeneous solution. So be on the lookout for that. You're going to have to do it. Make it look like your homogeneous solution with a t in front of the cosine and in front of the sine part. That's all you got to do. So let's plug it in. So xp double dot plus xp is equal to, just going to bring these two things together, this and this. Notice that some stuff cancels. Here I've got negative at cos, here I've got positive at cos. Those are going to cancel. Similarly, bt sine cancels with negative bt sine. And what I'm left with is only negative 2a sine t, and then plus 2b cosine of t. So when I pass this solution through, this is what comes out. And now I pick a and b so that it equals the sine of t. So compare to the right-hand side of the given equation. And that means we need to have 2a sine of t plus negative 2a sine of t plus 2b cos must equal 1 sine of t. That means b is 0 because there's no cosines. And what does a have to equal?
Negative half.
Negative half. This negative 2a must be 1. This thing here has to be 0. If there was a cosine, then I'd have to worry about it. But a is negative a half. Go back and plug that back in. So our particular solution is negative 1/2 t. What was the a, the coefficient on the cosine? Cosine of t. So that's my particular solution. Then I add this. So step 3 is combine xh plus xp to get your general solution. And that's going to be the most general version of a solution to that without the initial conditions kicked in. So x of t equals c1 cos t plus c2 sine of t minus 1/2 t cos t. And now I have to find the initial, use the initial conditions to find c1 and c2. So x at 0 equals 0. Plug it in, just like you've always done. That says c1 is 0. Take the derivative of this, and oh God. No, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. So then x dot of t is going to be negative C1. Well, C1's 0, so I'm done with this guy. So it's just gonna be C2 cos minus 1/2, and then product rule. 1 cos minus t sine. So x dot at 0 is just C2 minus 1/2, and that is equal to 0. Somewhere that's equal to 0. So C2 is 1/2, and my final solution then is as follows. So x of t equals 1/2 sine of t minus 1/2 t cosine of t. That's the solution for this problem. What does that mean? Well, if you plot this out, notice that this is going to control the amplitude of this cosine function here. And what it means is that as t gets bigger, the amplitude on this thing gets bigger. So what you're going to see is a solution. Well, hell, let's just plop it into Desmos and see what it looks like. I highly recommend using Desmos. I will ask you for several graphs.
Dr. T,
Yeah.
can you just clarify how you got that xt right there? Because if you're plugging in b, which is 0, then the cost would go away, right? In that equation up there.
So
You have that. Where did you plug that in?
where did I plug this in, Lou?
Yeah.
I plugged it into the general form of the assumed form of xp.
Okay.
Does that help? Okay, cool, awesome. So I got one more thing to show you. I want to show you what resonance looks like when it occurs. We have a suspicion of what it looks like with that amplitude increasing and the period increasing as we approach the natural frequency. I got a feeling, oh, there we go, that sounds good. That sounds bad. All right, so what is this? I'll start typing while we do this. Sine of x. That doesn't sound good. It's like, no, it's like blinking.
Looks like it's just, oh, now it's kind of blinking.
Yeah, it seemed really good for a short period, Katrina. Let's try again. This is probably the worst thing I can do. Second worst thing I can do is go over there and start pushing buttons on that thing. You know. But I'm good. So I guess that's what we're at. I guess that's what's happening. I notice how they've made them a little bit more challenging to find. Oh my God, that worked. Unbelievable. Okay. So we have t cosine of t. Keep working here. Not looking good. Yeah, that's good. Try some magic.
Yeah.
Why is it being so weird? Like I see there's light coming out of that projector. How is there not light on this screen? Yeah, try that. I don't know if that's gonna help.
It was on HDMI 1 if that
Oh, that might be the problem.
See some blue over there.
Oh wait. Yes! Huzzah! Okay, cool, thanks. Lou, that did it. Brandon, that did it. Is that Brandon you said that?
No, that was Evan.
That was Evan. Good job, Evan. And good job, Brandon, for telling me it was Evan. So look at what happens here. This is resonance. That envelope, that outer beat, got a period now of infinity, and its amplitude never stops growing. So you're just cranking energy into the system at the exact frequency that it needs energy, that its own natural energy is. And what you'll see is just craziness like this. It's cool. I love that. You get to explore that. Oh, look at those. Look at those babies in there. Yeah.
Zoom out.
Yeah. I already zoomed out. It just looks like triangles. It's not going to stop looking like a triangle, Lou.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I guarantee you it won't stop looking like a triangle.
Wait.
Well, it's just like barfing. I know what you're seeing. Look, ooh, that was pretty, huh? Look at that at the edges. But those cycles are, oh, that's lovely. Those cycles are so close together that they just look a big old solid.
Is that technically a cone?
Yes. Yes. In fact, the outer edge is exactly this line. So if I were to sketch x equals negative plus or minus 1/2 t, that is the outer envelope of that thing.
Of like a real cone, where it has the one side.
It's got, yes, it is not just a nape of a cone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is both napes. Yes, ma'am, that is correct. All right. You may or may not be thrilled about that, but certainly you'll be thrilled about this. How could you not be with so much writing that I lovingly put on these pages? This should also be appearing in World Class should you lose your copy. Let me get it out. Let me talk to you about what I need from you. It looks long. It's not long. I swear. I might as well keep that going. So you're gonna look at this and go, oh my God. Especially problem 3. Here. Not losing anyway, but last. All right, let's check this out.
Oh God, it looks so long.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I want. Sometimes I say stuff like that just to get my wife to say certain things that I know she'll say. Just irritating things that she hates hearing, just to hear her say things to me about it. So let's take a look at what we got here. There are 3 problems. There's a front and a back to that first page. The first problem is you've done this. This is just granular. It looks like a lot because I wanted to make sure certain things got done and that you did them in a certain order. But it's really just like the web work problems you've been working, with maybe a little bit extra at the end. So, yeah, actually I'm now realizing, oh no. So notice in part F I changed the problem. So parts A through E, you basically have a homogeneous mass spring system. So there's no external forcing. So in 1A through E, you've got, I won't give away all the fun. You've got that. And then in part F, I ask you to replace the equals with sinusoidal forcing. There will not be resonance in this model because this is a damped spring system and the damping keeps resonance from occurring, which is why damping is useful in all sorts of things. And then from there, please, F, G, and H are all referring to that system right there. So you've got 3 problems with a particular solution you'll have to work through. Number 2, which is on the back, That looks like a lot also, but it's just, I want you to do those bulleted items for each of those 3 problems. So make sure, one of the things that's super important here is 10% of your grade is going to be the write-up. Just like if you do nice write-up, you solid 10%. If it's a really, if I have trouble reading it, I'm gonna be upset and I'll have to take points off that 10%. So please, just kind of do what I think I lined out in the world class announcement. So if you look in the world class announcement, I tell you exactly what I need from you. Staple, a brief statement of what you're doing. You don't have to write this all out, but I would like to see the equations you're working with and know roughly what you're about to do, finding eigenvalues. You can just say that, it doesn't even have to be a complete sentence. But for number 2, you're gonna have 3 problems, and for each of those, please do the bulleted items, or at least address them. I think I even say you only really need some of those for the second 2. Is that true? Do I say that? Yeah. So the 3rd bullet says, for the second 2 equations, do this. Otherwise, you're pretty good to go. With part A, that's just the first 2 things there. And then I thought it'd be fun to have an application that we haven't seen. It's like practice. Oh, we can read DiffyQ and we can do stuff that wasn't in the book. This actually was in the book, but I tweaked the parameters so that we have a nice solution. So we've got this pandemic, or this, yeah, I guess we could just call it a pandemic. Kind of, hits home for us. We've got this city, and we're keeping track of 2 things. S is the number of susceptible people. I don't know how to say susceptible. Do I have it written in here? Number of potentially infected folks. You are born susceptible in this model. And I is the actual number of infected people. And this is all in the statement of that. I just kind of want to note a few things. So let's look at these equations. We've got S dot equals -1/2 SI plus 6. Very unusual. We've not had anything where there's not a variable attached to it. And then the rate of infected growth is -3I plus 1/2 SI. So let's just talk really quickly about what is in this model so that it makes sense when you're solving it. This is the growth rate of the this is the birth rate of the population. And I think I said everything here is in 10,000s. Is that right? Something like that? Yeah. So this is basically just saying that the number of susceptible people will continually grow because people are just being born at a certain rate. So the growth rate of susceptible folks is a constant. But then, as susceptible and already infected people interact, so we see an interaction term here, about half of them will actually become infected. And half of them will become infected. So here's that interaction term down here, and half of them will remain susceptible. And then down here, this is again just that same piece of information. This is just the interaction in the 2 groups. But infected folks are dying off. And the more of them there are, the faster they're dying off. So this is, yeah, it's sad. It's sad. But this is the death rate among the infected people here. So that's why there's a minus on that, because it's cutting down on the number of infected people. And that's, alas, the only way they can become less is if they die. Where there's no cure in our little model here. So what you need to do is go through the whole classic process. You're gonna have an S-axis and an I-axis. And somewhere in here, you're going to find an equilibria or several. I'm just being purposely vague about that. I'm gonna let you work with that. And what happens? What happens to these? What happens? That's all I want to know. And there's a couple very specific things I want to know. Notice how I'm super precise about what I want in this plot. I want a sufficient number of arrows. So it definitely, show me that, like, that's not enough. Show me enough arrows. And I'm making fake arrows to not give anything fun away. These are garbage arrows. None of these are real. Put enough of those in and add 3 trajectories, one of which starts exactly at S is 3 and I is 1. So 30,000 susceptible and 10,000 already infected. What happens as time moves on? We'll think as time moves toward infinity. What you will see is that this disease becomes endemic. And that means that the population just gets used to living with it. Kind of like we have COVID now. COVID is endemic, it's just there. And so at some point, this will reach an equilibrium, and it's up to you to figure out how and define the story. So now let me give a couple warnings. Some folks write beautiful stuff, incredible amounts of stuff. You don't need to write incredible amounts of stuff. You don't need to write incredible amounts of stuff. But you can. You can. I won't be sad. Did you have a question?
No.
Oh, no. Okay, so yeah, all right. But I do ask for a little story about it, just like I think I even say there are 3 to 5 complete sentences. Don't feel constrained by that, but you've got other shit to do. So that is just what I want at a minimum on this page. I don't think this is going to take too long. That was my goal, that this wouldn't take more than a couple hours probably. And I forgot when I said it's due. I think it's due next Thursday at noon. Does anybody have World Class open? They could, huh? Yeah, me too. It's just hard for me to log in. Trace, did you have a question, my friend?
Do you just want us to like put it in your like office like door, like
Yeah, in that little box right outside my office. Please definitely check what I want. I want it like stapled together. And I just want it to look nice. This is the final thing some of you will ever give me. Like ever. Some of you, I'll see you this fall. And so you also better give me something nice because I'll see you this fall.
Do no later than noon Thursday.
Yes, that sounds perfect. And Wednesday is your last day for consultation, so if you want to talk with me, I think Monday and Tuesday of next week, I'm going to be working from home. My wife's out of town. I want to stay home with the dog, so I'll have Zoom. I can meet with you via Zoom for consultation. I'll be in on Wednesday. Wednesday's the last day of consultation. Do not email me, and I think I even gave a time on that World Class announcement. What is the last time you can consult with me? 3 p.m. on Wednesday. That is to keep the 11 p.m. Wednesday night, I just started this email from coming in because I've learned something over my years of teaching. I'm trying to avoid that. Otherwise, this is what we're working on. Wednesday's class, come in and work on this. You'd be crazy not to. Who knows what I'll say? Who knows what I'll tell you about the exam, right? Who knows what somebody will ask that you need to know? And I won't be recording Wednesday's class. Are we good? And I'll be in on Friday this week too, for office hours. Does this feel okay? You're kind of like, let me see. Yeah? Okay. Well, we've got roughly a half an hour. Maybe start taking a look through it, seeing what looks easy, seeing what looks like you might need to review some stuff. I will definitely make up another video to show you, especially those 3 problems, some examples of that. And I'm going to kill that recording right now.